Hello and welcome to Your Business, Your Wealth. My name is Paul Adams. I am your co-host. I'm also the CEO of Sound Financial Group, and I am joined by who is likely the best looking man whose video is feeding live to my computer right now, Corey Shepard.
I like that. That's a good one. If you're just tuning in, if you've been around for a while, you know that there's always this wonderful moment where no one, oftentimes, especially Paul, knows exactly how I'm going to be introduced when that sentence starts. And that was a fun one.
Yeah,
that's top five, easy.
I find it takes away a little bit of the suspense for me if I think about it much ahead of time. I'm as excited as you to find out what I'm going to say next. Not just on your introduction, just in the entire episode. It is always, I got to go back and listen to them just to see how it went. So,
this is a great technique. I just picked up this top five thing. So it was recently Halloween. By the time you hear this, it won't be as recently Halloween, but for us today is right around the corner. And I had friends over to help trick or treat. We give away north of 1,000 pieces of candy a year. And one of our friends came up with a really good technique, which if you kind of like the kid's costume, he's like, oh, top five all night. Great. Because none of them are around to know how many you said top five to.
That is a great idea.
The parents loved it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like it. Maybe we'll give away blue ribbons next year, like that just say top five.
Well, but then they're going to be able to count. Kids are just going to see this sea of blue ribbons.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome, especially when 6 kids come to the door and I give all 6 a top 5 ribbon. All right. Well, we got some fun for everybody today. We got 3 really interesting stories for us to talk about. We've got people being robbed. We've got what to do if somebody names you as an executor, meaning somebody dies, and then an entire commercial about killing your spouse. I'm very excited about this. As always, guys, make sure to like, subscribe, put a comment down below. We love it. It means a lot for our analytics, and it allows other people to have the potential to be able to find this show just like you did. So with that, are you ready for our first one, Corey?
I'm ready.
I feel
so bad for this guy.
All right. Yeah. So this is, for those of you that have not worked with us as clients, I often give a joke about you could move to Gilbert, Arizona, say from San Francisco or Seattle or New York, and you'd have a change of lifestyle, but you definitely get some cheaper housing. Well, this guy's story is out of Gilbert, Arizona, and he was groomed and then scammed out of his entire 401k. Now, this is a trend that has continued where people have a decent amount of money in their 401k, and it is tempting for fraudsters to try to go after these large pools of money, and they're getting better at it. So go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say he used some app, which they don't tell us. I wish they would have told us more about the name of the app. Did I miss that?
I don't think they did.
Which would have been a good thing to just give people a little bit of red alert. Of course, they're probably changing all these apps, but where did the app come from? Was it from the App Store? Was he Android and he bought it somewhere there? Like, who knows? But he transferred 100,000 in.
Well, I was going to say, so it's like he was using an app on his phone to make investments, and then he came across an opportunity he couldn't resist.
Yeah.
And he transferred $100,000. Now, for those of you that don't know, there are some 401ks that allow you to distribute money, say, to an IRA or other investment. It's called in-service distributions. Believe it or not, it's on most 401ks. And the reason they do it, going all the way back to the Enron days, is to give them the opportunity to say, if participants said, hey, you gave us bad investment options and my investments didn't work out well, they could say, hey, you could have always moved it. So it gives a great liability out for those of you as business owners. It's a great thing to add to the plan, because although this guy made a tremendous mistake and was defrauded, he was the one that did it. And so the employer would not be liable. Not an attorney. Just play one on a podcast sometimes.
Right.
So I've been dabbed in and out of the stock market over the years. So he's not a disciplined investor. He's somebody that kind of moves with the vagaries of the market. And is this hot right now, or is that hot right now? A lot of people do that.
And it started off with just friendly conversations with this Amy woman who claimed to live in China, and she promised she could take John's investments to a new level. So first of all, just to be a financial advisor and be licensed and not live in the United States is pretty difficult. Like there's some things you've got to, like, I wouldn't say it's necessarily, well, no, it might be impossible. It might be impossible.
I know we can't invest the funds of foreign nationals in our portfolios. They can pay us a fee, and we do have some expats that we advise, but when somebody's...
If you and I can't go live in China and still do this.
Yeah, not above board anyway.
No.
But Amy can. So let's see how it went. So it just started off friendly conversations. This is the kind of trust or rapport that was building. And this is something that is done in hacking, etc., is that human side. Being able to crack not the code of breaking your 401k via the website, but break the code of the human being, which is what she did. Amy even sent John personal messages like, "Happy birthday, I hope you're having a great day." It was enough to lure in John even more. After he trusted Amy with invested his money, I started off with, 10,000, made and a bit, lost a bit. I put 15,000 in, made a bit more than I put in. And one investment, 48,000, grew to 120 or 130. So let's pause there for a moment.
Yeah.
What he saw was a document or a screenshot that was showing him that he had that money, or that he had some positive returns and some negative returns.
Well, you know what? So it could have been that. It probably was that. But if I was a super clever, crafty, should I give away my secrets of if I was a clever, crafty?
No, I love talking about what I would do if I went to a life of crime. Although most of mine has to do with smuggling. I can't do this high speed stuff that you're thinking about.
Well, look, if I was Amy, I could have a spreadsheet of like 100 people that I was in touch with like this. It wouldn't be that hard to manage. And you actually recommend maybe hundreds.
Yeah.
And then I would tell them, like, we bought this stock. So they see a statement, like you said, but it's a real stock that person can go check out there in the internet. And it's a variation of the email letter scam where you send someone an email with, here's the 3 picks. And then some people, just by luck, you're going to have gone up a bit. And then those 3, like, give more money. And then you go, right? So you could have tricked him into thinking she knew something until he finally, that 48 grew to 130. And now he's like, okay, now I'm all in. So there's a lot of ways to snag someone.
So then he sent $190,000. It was almost his entire 401k balance. These folks had actually been contacting me mostly through WhatsApp, just vanished.
That's right. It was mostly through WhatsApp.
So maybe, just pro tip for everybody listening, don't make investments with people from other countries who have only chatted with you on WhatsApp. Just public service announcement. We could have saved John. John could have been saved. He had this public service announcement.
You know how much I love to qualify blanket statements. I like to pull a little back, but I might just be okay with that one.
Yeah.
But I'm all in on that one.
And I think his advice near the end is good. His last quote in this article is, I would just say, cover all your bases. Don't take any of it for granted and know exactly who is getting your money.
Well, he had one quote in the middle, towards the end. It's one thing if I was a multimillionaire. Yeah, that's a lump. I can take it and get over it. But this is a little bit different, John said. And he's talking about after having lost it all. That's the advice I would have had John give himself on the front end before putting that money in. And for all of our clients, like money in the world of investing is money got to be okay, not getting back for a really good long time. And the more speculative it is, you might say, I'm okay not getting it back ever.
Yes. Well, and clearly this was something speculative, and you could tell because how quickly his values went up. So had this been a legitimate investment, one thing to always be thinking about is that the money goes up really, really quickly. It's an announcement of that investment saying it can go down that quickly because it's telling you its volatility. Now, in this case, the volatility was really bad. It went all the way to zero and stayed there. And that is 100% loss. That is not 0%. It takes a long time to recover from that. And not to mention that both he and probably other people who get a chance to get exposed to his story will inappropriately think that what that means is to not invest anybody with their assets, not to trust anybody with their assets, as opposed to letting the lessons of mistrusting the wrong person who is defrauding people. And that's one of the big reasons why, guys, we do the podcast. We let you guys be exposed to 200 plus episodes of our philosophy so that you would know if something came from us out of character.
Well, and I would also say the problem was that all he did was trust this Amy. Like we tell all of our clients, like trusting us should not be the reason that you do anything. Like we have, like, here's our third party custodian. That's a name that everyone knows, and you can look up, like there's all kinds of independent verifications of this ecosystem that we're in, that we're just not walking away with the money. None of that did he have with Amy.
That's right. An ecosystem of security, if you will, that just didn't exist here in any way that mattered to the individual investor. And so, but put your comments below. Tell us, what do you think, or what would your initial thought be if you were getting pinged by somebody via WhatsApp to invest any amount with commas from your 401k? So with that, we'll leave this one. So to our guy in Gilbert, we're super sorry this happened to you. It is a tragedy, and it's one of the reasons why ancient wisdom would say we need to seek wise counsel before imparting on a plan, and it's no different here. We have a problem where people make the mistake of trusting people they shouldn't, people that there would literally be no reason to trust, and they get swept up and get their money taken. So,
and thank you for sharing your story.
Yes.
So that this could maybe not happen to someone else.
Amen. All right. Now, next is, many of you out there get a chance where somebody says, hey, man, I love you. I trust you. You and your spouse are amazing. I want you to be executor of my estate or guardian of my children, etc. And many people just immediately say, I'd be happy. It would be an honor to be able to do that for you. Except there are some questions that you should ask so you're not going into this role blindly. And I thought the Wall Street Journal did a good job of this article by Michael Pollock. 5 questions to ask if you are named an executor of an estate. So, Corey, maybe just kick off. Do you want to give people the background on what is an executor and why that would matter?
Sure thing. So, in an estate, well, if you're making your will, let's just start here. You're usually naming 3 types of entities in that will: the executor, a guardian, and a trustee. An executor is executing the documents. They're kind of the quarterback of the estate, just making sure everything gets done. The guardian takes care of any people. That's usually if you've got young kids and you need to name a guardian. And then the trustee takes care of the money. Those can be all 3 in one person, but they could also be 3 different people, depending on who's in your life and who can handle what responsibilities and can't handle the others. Yeah.
Well, and in this case, what we're looking to do is understand, if you are named that executor, what are some questions you should be asking immediately? Same questions apply if you are named in any way in somebody's estate plan. So let's hit each of these 5 tips here.
Yeah. I like this. Who's on number 1? Who is on the team?
Yeah.
You're in a situation where someone that you love is gone, and you're dealing with all that emotion, and now you've got to meet new people, learn how to work with them appropriately. Like just asking these questions ahead of time sets you up to have as the least hard time of what's going to be a hard situation. So I think that's huge. And, knowing is there an attorney, an investment advisor, they don't have an insurance person on this list, but different kinds of insurances like long-term care or property and casualty or life, things need to either get canceled or claimed. So it may be a different person than the investment advisor.
But I think that the key to what you're pointing to, Corey, is that most people don't pause long enough to say who's on the team. Now, most people don't pause long enough to say who's on the team right now while they're alive of who's on their team. But there are individuals. So that's one of the first things you could ask. This is not after the death of the person. Somebody says, I want to make you executor. Say, great. Who's the financial advisor? Who's the insurance agents? Who's the attorney or attorneys? Who is the CPA? You might have a different life insurance person than you have the car or homeowners insurance person. And those are all team members that whoever's in charge of your estate should be aware of. And all these could be flip-sided too, which is these are the things you should be telling somebody if you've made them an executor, guardian, or trustee of your estate, even if they're not asking.
I think you alluded to this, Paul. If someone's got young kids and they're like, could you be the godparents? Can you be the guardians? You want to ask who's your life insurance agent to know, like, do you have life insurance? Are you saying that if something happens to you, all of those extra expenses are on me? Which I might say yes to, but I'd like to know about it now so I can plan for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
or I'd like to know about it so I can say yes or no with eyes wide open.
Yep.
Over now 25 years in this career, I have, due to unforeseen circumstances, or somebody had a brother or sister who maybe didn't have their life together very good, where multiple clients over the years have been responsible for the children of their deceased sibling. And there was no life insurance, just all those expenses, just all of a sudden 2 more teenage mouths to feed on the expense side, not to mention all the mental, emotional, etc. All right, let's hit the next one. Was a trust created? So the basic differences between a will and a trust are the following. A will is redone whenever it's done. If you read the first line of your will, it says, I revoke all my previous wills and codicils. A trust is an entity that owns everything while we're still alive. So that what has to change is just the trust control and ownership, and minimizes the amount of time needed for probate, etc., which makes the executor's life a lot easier. So that's why you want to ask, is there a trust?
And the trust is a private document, which is not the case for a will. We were just talking about, it's amazing how many things are public information. Your mortgage, anybody can go look up. Your will, anybody can go look up in a court website to see what that filing looks.
Private before. Public after.
Public after. But a trust is a fully private document, and it does move a lot faster than going to the courts for probate.
Indeed. Are funds available to cover near-term costs? So this is there enough money in the bank? Is there life insurance? Is there, which is important, because if you're just the executor, a lot of those financial things may not fall upon you. But now imagine if you're the executor, pardon me, I got a little COVID leftovers. So if you have somebody else as the guardian, but now as the executor, you're the one that has to run through this checklist and figure out the estate. Meanwhile, you've got somebody over here upset that I would say they're usually not upset because it's an honor, but they are being put upon with extra expenses. If you do that to a household that is not well prepared as the executor, you will be suffering alongside that guardian. Are the estate's assets suitable for the heirs? Now, this is a great example. If somebody has a big rental property portfolio, businesses, they may have weird assets like lumber, and they own leases on land. Like all kinds of stuff can be in those estates. And the question would be, to the person while they're alive, while they're telling you you're going to be the executor. Hey, do you think that lumber is the kind of thing that should be continue to be held for your kid, or are there any of these assets that we're okay just selling and making it an appropriate asset like cash or investments for that child to hold?
I've seen plenty of cases where kids inherit from their parents, adult children, portfolios that are very largely in bonds because the adult parent was very, very old, and then that doesn't fit their risk tolerance at all. But it's been a few years of just, well, this is what I inherited from my mom, and some of it can be emotional, like, oh, my dad bought this thing, and now it's something that's left of him.
But it's so often just sorry, I'm using the wrong term. When an entity runs out of energy, and it's coasting along, like people.
Yeah, entropy.
The entropy. It's just people get the assets. And I can't tell you how often we find somebody has an old IRA or an old investment account, and there's no emotional attachment. It's just, I didn't know what I should do with it, so I just left it where it was and left it invested like it was.
Yeah.
Yep. And then our heirs on board with the timetable. Now, for those of you that got a chance to listen to me interview Alex Weingarten, I would broaden this last one. I would broaden it to say, are the heirs on board with the estate plan? We talked about the importance of that air conditioning. Are they prepared? Are they aware? We had one client, this is still a client, but years ago, and they had done a good job and built a pretty significant real estate portfolio. And it was $70 million. 70, not 17, 70 million. And they lived a very, very normal life. Their children had no clue. No clue. And that became a big topic of conversation for us. I'd gotten them some books to read from, some of the top estate planning attorneys that deal with family issues, because my big concern was their children would be wildly unequipped. They wouldn't know how to work with the bank. They wouldn't know how to deal with the property management companies. They wouldn't know how to do any of those things. And then they would also be burdened with, why in the world did my parents never share this intimate part of their life with me that clearly took a tremendous amount of time of theirs for decades and decades and decades? And just imagine how strange that feels. Your parent is not there for you to talk about it anymore. If you're named as the executor, one of the best gifts you may be able to give somebody is making sure that they talk to their heirs to prepare them for whatever the estate plan is. And I promise you it will make your job as executor 100 times easier. And go back 2 episodes, listen to Alex Weingarten talk about this. It's so important that the heirs are on board. So with that,
Absolutely.
5 things, don't take your executorship lightly, both from Your Business, Your Wealth and the Wall Street Journal. Now you ready? You ready for the last one, our most controversial one?
Oh my gosh. This is hilarious, and maybe if I was setting out to write the worst ad for life insurance ever, this is what I would I would write.
This is what you would have picked?
This is a company or an ad agency run by millennials. This is not your traditional life insurance industry marketing.
Indeed. And we're going to play the clip for you here in a minute. But here's what I want to set up for you guys. You see this, dad walk in, and the wife is like, "Hey, honey," but sort of with a weird mood. And he walks into his house and avoids one calamity after the next as every single member of his family tries to kill him. So with that, let's take 1 minute, watch this together. For those of you listening, I've set it up pretty good. You're going to hear the husband and wife talking, and you're going to hear, I forgot, the family dog also tried to kill him. It's like his son tries to kill him, the family dog tries to kill him, and this cute little, what appears to be 7-year-old girl takes a shot at him. And I think the slogan is something like, life insurance so good your family will try to kill you, or something like that. Now, I do like the legal disclaimer at the end where it's like, really, you shouldn't be killing people. We're going to play the entire clip. It's only 1 minute. Let's enjoy it now.
Hi, hon.
Hi, honey.
Hey, Snowball. Nerd alert.
Hello, Father.
You know, Socrates said. Anyways, we'll talk later.
I didn't do it!
Ladder. Life insurance so good, they're gonna want you dead. I love you too, guys. But seriously, intentionally killing a policyholder will void all life insurance benefits.
All right, so you guys can see, like, that is bananas. This and one thing that is pretty brilliant about this ad, if you ask me, was the brilliance of making such a controversial ad that it's getting picked up in the news because of how controversial the ad is. Now it's from
It's just more free advertising. It's perfect.
Indeed. It ends with the line, life insurance so good, they're going to want you dead. Now, for those of you that get a chance to watch this, it is both a just kind of a cute, funny little show, little 1 minute show, except what it also does is it incriminates a little bit of our lack of financial knowledge.
Yep.
And this is what I mean. So let's just take this guy. He looks pretty upper middle class by the looks of it. Nice home. Everybody, appears to be well nutritioned, good clothes on, and a late model car is in the driveway. So let's just, for the sake of example, say this person's making, say, $240,000 a year. Now, when we hear about somebody having $1 million of life insurance, $1 million feels like a lot. But why it feels like a lot is not for the reason you think. It's because we naturally gravitate toward, if I have $1 million now with my current bills, with my current income, all that, like, that's going to make a difference. That's a significant amount of money on the balance sheet to grow for the future. The problem is we're going to replace the guy making $250,000 a year here with, say, $1 million, which
4 years of income.
Yeah, 4 years of income, or said differently, we could take a 4% distribution as our sustainable distribution when we're taking money out of investments for the sake of replacing income. So all this family that is thinking they're going to get a big payday are likely not. Now, he's in his mid-40s. So if he's in his mid-40s, across most insurance companies. Now, Corey, I wasn't prepared with a calculator on this, so I'm going to count on you to do the math. What's 240 times 15?
Yeah, I was like, why did you pick $240,000 for
3.6 million. I think I did it correctly in my head, but if you don't mind double checking me. I do my best thinking when I get Corey exasperated, so I wasn't able to do the math. 3.6, is that right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I get magical when I frustrate Corey. Like, I can just do new calculations, think of strategy. He's like the opposite of whatever kryptonite is to Superman to me in my intellectual capacity. But they would need 3.6? No, 4.6.
3.6 is 15 times.
3.6 is the most that he could buy. And if you took a 4% distribution off of that, that is $144,000 a year of income. Now, this guy, when he disappears off the face of the planet, either because of a heart attack or that axe that swung down from the ceiling, his family is going to get $250,000 of income replaced. And that's the most life insurance he's likely to be able to own from most insurance companies, is going to give his family $100,000 and some a year, a full $100,000 less a year than what he's earning right now. Now, I would encourage everybody who hears that flippant joke. My wife used to hear it quite a bit around when she was a leader of MOPS, that you'd hear about spouses and life insurance and all that. And my wife, God bless her, she'd square off with wives.
I can picture her doing that. Like, no.
They'd be like, so-and-so's got $1 million of life insurance. You go, oh, do you guys spend more than $40,000 a year? Like she just had the 40,000 per million in her head. And they're like, well, what do you mean? They're like, well, like what does your husband make here? Well, he makes 120. Go, uh-huh. And if you invest $1 million, you can take out $40,000 a year, but you're probably also going to want to pay off your house, help with kids' college, all that. Like you're going to be left with hardly anything. And you watch it kind of get their attention because we relate to it like the golfer on the 18th hole with that huge check. Now they can go get a Bugatti Veyron with that money because they're going to earn another one of those checks next week. But this is the last check this family is going to see. And while I think it's a very clever ad for the sake of marketing, it's a dishonoring, which by the way happens a lot in our society today. I don't comment on cultural stuff very often, but for all of you dads out there that are trying to be good, solid leaders of your households, just turn on any sitcom and look at how much they're working to dumb down and make the dads in our society look foolish. And it goes all the way back to Married with Children. So this is not like a new development, but then you see something like this where not only is the person out earning a living all day long so his family can live this way, but he's also responsible enough that he went and got life insurance. And it's life insurance so good, they're going to want to kill you. Like, or is that what it is? They're going to want you dead.
They're going to want you dead. Yeah.
To kill you would have been too graphic. So all we want for all of you to think about is, for you and your money, one, you're listening to this because you are planning or you are looking to do a better job of your planning and increase your financial knowledge. See through some of the BS that comes from our financial media. And this is one of those things that it just leaves people under a misimpression. It is meant to get clicks like most of the articles that we see and review here. But one, you got to do that planning to make sure your family's going to be okay. If you're somebody who's an executor, you need to make sure that you're listening to what planning people have put together ahead of time. And then going back to our first story today, you got to put yourself in a position that you know what you're investing in. You know where your returns are coming from. Because if you don't know where your returns are coming from, you could be that Gilbert guy that got absconded by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Or you could be somebody that's just making a foolish investment into a specific stock that you don't understand or where its returns are getting derived from.
Or a cryptocurrency.
Or a cryptocurrency. And when those gains disappear, here's the drawback. It's going to feel worse than the guy whose money was stolen from him. And this is just from me to you. Having lost money in the past, I will say that nothing is worse. Like, you'd almost rather be defrauded because it's easier to live with. Like, this guy can point to his mistakes, but he can always point to Amy in China or wherever she was as the person that defrauded him.
Sure.
But when you speculate on some individual stock and lose your family $100,000, I promise you that feels a lot worse. So know where your money is invested, know where the returns are coming from, and make sure that you're doing some degree of diligence in the people with whom you transact. Are they known? If you Google them, do you find them? There's just some simple things you can look into. Corey, anything else you want to leave our audience with today?
No, I think this is a fun collection of articles that all seem very, very different, but kind of wove into some of the same themes, surprisingly. So, it's a lot of fun.
For all of you, please comment. Say something down in the comments below. Be sure to like this video. Be sure to subscribe. And if you are on any of your favorite podcast apps, remember, if you put an honest review on there, take a screenshot of it, email that to us at info@sfgwa.com. We will send you a copy of one of our latest books as our gift to you for just supporting the podcast. With that, we hope all of you have an amazing week, and we hope this has been a contribution to you being able to design and build a good life.